Today is the very last day of 2025. What a year has it been? Whether you enjoyed this year or not, it was a pretty big year for Nintendo, introducing the brand new Nintendo Switch 2, along with some pretty big games like Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza. But every year on the final day, I like to make this video in order to get you guys prepared for what's to come and excited for what else could be announced for Nintendo in the following year, and kind of do a somewhat prediction, but also base it around what makes sense and not just crazy speculation. But before we get started, make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe. We are trying to reach 400,000 as we go into the new year. You can make that happen, so let's see how many we can get on today's video alone, especially if you're excited for Nintendo in 2026. Let me know by leaving a like and subscribing. Thank you guys, and let's jump into what to expect from Nintendo in 2026. First, I'd like to start off with what we know, everything that's confirmed so far, and we're going to start off with the confirmed dates. So our first Nintendo anything next year is on January 15th. We have Animal Crossing New Horizons update, where it gives it this Switch 2 edition and adding apparently a lot of content. Some of the leakers and insiders said that this was going to be a bigger update than many people think. It's going to greatly expand the game and keep it alive for probably a couple more years until the next Animal Crossing is ready. But then February 12th is going to be our first Switch 2 game of 2026, and it's going to be a Mario Tennis game, which might not resonate a lot with everybody else, but I will say from what I've seen so far, it feels like it's actually trying to emulate more of those classic Mario Tennis games like Power Tennis on the GameCube, with themed courts and a fun-looking story mode. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with that. We should be getting information about that game soon as well as we get into the earlier couple of weeks of January. But then February 17th, just a week later, we'll have the Virtual Boy Classic, where you can spend $100 on a fake Virtual Boy, or is like 20 bucks on the cardboard. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, you can play Virtual Boy Classic games on NSO. And then March 5th, just a couple weeks later after that, we have Pokemon Pokopia. We don't know much about Pokopia right now. It's just kind of like another Animal Crossing style game, which is funny that Nintendo does these sort of things, where we had a Mario Kart World and a couple months later Kirby Air Riders. So 2026 we have Animal Crossing New Horizons update, and then a couple months later we have Pokemon Pokopia, which feels like a Pokemon Animal Crossing game. So very strange, but that's Nintendo for you. And then April 3rd is our last actual confirmed date, and this is going to be saved for the Mario Galaxy movie, which is sure going to be a pretty big deal for a lot of us. We'll probably be getting more information soon. I think there were some rumors of a trailer happening relatively soon, probably to start 2026. So we can expect, more trailers and obviously the movie releasing. And I think some other things might go alongside this movie as well. But we also have some more confirmed games for the year, but these just do not have dates yet. For the spring, we have Tomodachi Life, Living the Dream. I know a lot of people are going to be loving this game. This sold extremely well on the 3DS. I think it was close to like 7 million units, so do not sleep on this game. This is going to be a pretty big game for a lot of people, but this is both Switch 1 and Switch 2. Technically, this is only a Switch 1 game, but you'll be able to play it on your Switch 2. Also in the spring, we have Super Mario Bros. Wonder Switch 2 Edition, Bella Bell Park, huge crazy title. But yes, Mario Wonder is coming back with some new single-player content with the Koopalings, and also tons of multiplayer content that you can play with others, like in the form of mini games and stuff like that in Bella Bell Park. That's coming in the spring. Also, we have Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, a brand new 2D game coming for Yoshi. It seems to be another game that's probably from Good Feel, kind of having that cutesy look to it, a brand new art style that's moving away from the arts and crafts style of Yoshi game, and it looks like it's going to have an emphasis on buddies, like a buddy partner gimmick thing, where you can have an enemy partner that does something specific and adds to Yoshi's abilities, which looks pretty cool. We don't really know anything else about that game, but I'm sure we'll be getting information soon. But later in the year, we have Rhythm Heaven Groove at some point, which I'm personally very excited for. I haven't had a Rhythm Heaven game since Mega Mix, but the last original game was Rhythm Heaven Fever on the Wii, so I'm looking forward to this greatly. Later in the year, we also have Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave, another Fire Emblem game that looks like it's kind of going back to the Three Houses kind of vibe, which a lot of people really liked. I've not started a Fire Emblem game yet. I'm thinking about playing Three Houses this year, so I'm looking forward to that. And then later, we also have Splatoon Raiders, which is my most anticipated game so far in the entire year of 2026. This is a single-player spinoff that's this time not focused focused on multiplayer. It seems to be a giant single-player adventure game, which I think a lot of people are also sleeping on this game heavily. I guarantee you this is one of the best games that come out of Nintendo next year. I think it's going to be awesome if you love like 3D adventure games like Mario or even Donkey Kong Bonanza. I think this is going to be right up there with it. I can't wait to see when this game releases. I'm hoping it's around the summer, and I'm just really excited to see more gameplay of this. But that is definitely the game that I'm looking forward to the most that's already announced. And you can also throw in the From Software exclusive Duskbloods that's coming to Nintendo Switch 2 sometime in 2026. That's just not my personal thing, but definitely if you're looking forward to that, just keep an eye on the next Direct. We'll probably get some more information on that, or maybe a third-party Direct, something along those lines. But this is what we have so far for 2026. Now, me personally, this doesn't excite me too much. I'm going to be honest with you. It seems like lots of them are old games, smaller games, more cozier games like Animal Crossing, Pokopia, and even Tomodachi Life. It's just not really resonating with me all that much. Like I said, Splatoon Raiders is by far the only game that I truly care about next year. But you also have to remember, it's early. There's definitely going to be at least 1 or 2 heavy hitters that Nintendo hasn't announced yet. Probably even some more new games sprinkled in as well for the latter half of next year and the middle of next year. So that's what it's time to talk about. And before we get into just the new games, I want to talk about something else that's confirmed to be happening next year, is the Zelda 40th anniversary. Now, if Mario's 40th anniversary and even Mario's 35th anniversary is anything to go off of, I mean, shoot, we can even go off of Zelda's 35th anniversary. Nintendo is going to definitely do something, and they're going to have some type of presence in a Nintendo Direct, or maybe its own specific Direct. I'm thinking they could even tie this into the next general like they did with Mario, where it's an hour-long show and the first 15 minutes is dedicated to Zelda. But what in the world are they going to do for Zelda's 40th anniversary? Well, for the 35th, they actually had a pretty decent outing. They had Skyward Sword HD finally revealed, and they also had like a Game & Watch and some more information on Tears of the Kingdom, an upcoming, highly anticipated upcoming Zelda game. So yeah, we got a lot of goodies for the 35th, but for the 40th, it's arguably even bigger. Not even arguably, it is a lot bigger. So what is Nintendo going to do? I mean, a lot of us would say clearly it's way too early for us to see anything with the next Zelda game. I mean, Tears of the Kingdom just happened in 2023, so it would only be just around 3 years since then. But hey, you know what? It's 3 years. Maybe they could give us a tease. We know the Zelda team is no stranger when it comes to teasing a Zelda game early. I mean, they've done it with almost every mainline Zelda game, so they could give us a sneak peek or maybe just a glimpse of the development and what they're going to be going for this time around, so we can at least talk about it. But I think there's going to be one game here for sure. If you haven't been following me or the news surrounding this, including the leaks, the patents, and even the rumors, it seems like we are for sure going to be getting something with Ocarina of Time. And a lot of people are hinting at it being an Ocarina of Time remake, a full-fledged remake for the Nintendo Switch 2, which just sounds like a dream come true for me. This would be so cool to see for Zelda's 40th anniversary, and a great thing to have as we wait for the next mainline Zelda game. A lot of fans want Nintendo to go back to that classic linear 3D Zelda game with the perfectly crafted dungeons and the items and the bosses at the end of the dungeons and the mid-bosses in the dungeons. And what better way to do that right now and to give fans what they want by literally going back to one of the best, not only Zelda games, but greatest video games of all time with The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Lots of sources and outlets have been pointing to this. Even Nin10doland on Twitter, that literally just posts deals for Nintendo, came out of nowhere with maybe a hint referencing some type of Ocarina of Time remake. So it seems like some people out there know about this thing, and it doesn't really surprise me because Nintendo themselves kind of even been hinting at it with Lego sets referencing the Great Deku Tree from Ocarina of Time. There even seems to be another Ocarina of Time Lego set coming at the end of 2026, and it looks like it's going to be based on Ganon, as you can see a scene at the end of Ocarina of Time there. So obviously that's kind of even teasing it. So yeah, I really do think we're going to be getting a Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time remake, man. And once again, of course, I prefer new games over old, but when you look at something like Ocarina of Time and seeing it brought to a new light would be so awesome. And considering the fact that we just got 2 big Zelda games on the Switch 1, we know we're going to have to wait for the next one. So this would be a perfect thing to kind of tie us over and hold us off for even more years as we continue to wait. I can't wait to see if this is actually true, and I think this would be a massive announcement and a huge title for next year for a lot of us. As far as spin-offs, I mean, we could be getting something from a different studio studio, I would love to see an entirely different game style or genre. Like, could you imagine if we got like a RPG or like a Paper Zelda or something along those lines, or something that's just being made by a different studio that can take the weight off of Nintendo? There's been rumors that Monolith Soft is apparently working on something big for the next Zelda game. They have already been in development with past Zelda games as well. So maybe Monolith Soft is working on a spin-off for Zelda, or maybe they're the ones working on the Ocarina of Time remake. We could also be getting some maybe more updates and free content, or maybe even paid content for Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, because that game is kind of lacking in extra content, like extra unlockable characters and side stories and stuff like that. So we could be getting that. We could also maybe be getting something Wind Waker or Twilight Princess. I highly doubt it. If we get anything, it's gonna just be games on the NSO. I think that makes the most sense, just slapping those games on the GameCube NSO at this point. And then honestly, next year, I think they're definitely going to be touching on the Zelda movie. It releases on May 7th of 2027. So I'm sure we're going to get our first kind of sneak peek reveal trailer type of thing like we did with Mario Galaxy. Something to just kind of let us see what's going on with this movie and stuff like that to get us prepared. But I think there is going to be some pretty big surprises in store for Zelda's 40th, and I can't wait to see what they're working on. But odds are a lot of you clicked on this video for this part right here, the new games to expect. You guys want to talk about the big things, what's going to be the big announcements in the upcoming Nintendo Direct, and just kind of the big stuff to look forward to. Well, of course, when we start a new year, we have to bring up the one thing that we've been talking about nonstop for the last 5 years, and that is the next 3D Mario. Is it time? Well, October of 2026 will mark a whopping 9 years since Super Mario Odyssey, but of course, Donkey Kong Bonanza might have knocked this next 3D Mario off its course, which means we might have to wait even until 2027. Knowing Nintendo, it could even be 2028, but I think 2026, we should at least see the game. It'd be very strange to me that Nintendo would go that long into their brand new hardware and not even mention the next 3D Mario game. There are still people out there that I even know, some of my friends, that are still holding off on buying a Switch 2 until that next 3D Mario game is announced. I know it's hard to believe, but there are general gamers out there that are waiting on something like this. So I think Nintendo should at the very least announce this thing at one of the directs some point in some time next year. Personally, I would love it to be a big holiday game, but who knows at this point. But yes, this year also has the Mario Galaxy movie, and of course, I think that would also tie into a big ending to the Mario's 40th anniversary, so only time will tell, and we can only just hope at this point. But we also have Mario Kart World updates possible. I could see there being just a lot more updates to the intermission tracks like they've done already, updating the game, making it better than it once was. I really do have this feeling that Mario Kart World is going to kind of be flipped upside down and be this amazing game by the time 2026 is over. I don't know if there's going to be paid DLC or not. I don't know how people are going to handle that. I know some people, or a lot of people, are going to be very, very upset with it already having a steep price tag at $80. But yeah. The next Smash game. I know it sounds crazy, but it's been 7 years. And in 2026, in December, it will be 8 years. So yeah, it is kind of time for one of the biggest franchises in history for Nintendo. Now, I know a lot of people might think that Kirby Air Riders could also affect this the way Donkey Kong Bonanza affected 3D Mario, it seems. That could definitely be the case. Sakurai has been hard at work with Kirby Air Riders, and there's been rumors suggesting that Nintendo and Sakurai made a deal where if Sakurai gets his dream game of Kirby Air Riders, then Nintendo gets to request another Smash Brothers out of him. So who knows? But yeah, I think a lot of us are starting to expect a new Smash Brothers. The years are adding up. Another one that seems extremely likely to me right now is Luigi's Mansion 4. It will be 7 years in October of 2026. This one seems just extremely likely. Luigi's Mansion 3 sold so extremely well on Switch 1. I'm sure, Luigi's Mansion 4 is going to sell just as good, if not better. It also was one of the best looking games that I've ever seen from Nintendo, and only recently beat out by Metroid Prime 4 to me, but it is a beautiful looking game. I would love to see another one in that same art style, and I'm very curious to see where they move on. Is it going to be just a big mansion, or is it going to be something else entirely, like a boat or train or a museum or something else like that? But I'm really looking forward to see what their vision is for this next Luigi's Mansion game. And if I was to put money and bet towards any new game coming in 2026, I just feel like Luigi's Mansion 4 makes the most sense to me. I don't know. Once again, time will tell. We're going to get something Kirby. I mean, it's HAL Labs. They have always been on top of Kirby. I think every single year for the Nintendo Switch 1 had something Kirby outside of like maybe 1 year, and I could even be wrong about that one, but whether it be a remaster or a remake or a small spin-off, there's gonna be something. There were rumors saying that Planet Robobot was supposed to come in 2025. That never happened, obviously, with Kirby getting the Forgotten Land Switch 2 edition and also Kirby Air Riders. There just wasn't room for it. So I think maybe a Planet Robobot and a Triple Deluxe kind of combo pack would be an amazing thing to get in 2026. But I would also think something like a small side game, like another Kirby Fighters game or a Battle Royale game, something that we've gotten on the 3DS. These are even side games that we got on Switch 1, like Kirby Clash. I think these are all definitely possible. Maybe like a 3D version of those side games, like we have with Kirby Battle Royale. Like a 3D Kirby Fighters or a 3D Kirby Clash, something along those lines would be cool, following after Forgotten Land. This could have technically gone into the, confirmed things, because we know we're going to be getting more GameCube games on NSO, but which ones, it's uncertain. I think we'll probably see some more of those Star Fox games, like Star Fox Assault and obviously Adventures, and there's a bunch of other, GameCube games. We could go through the whole list. There's so many. Even Mario Kart Double Dash would be something I think a lot of people would rather play than World right now. But there's a lot of GameCube games on the list that they can slowly punch out for us. And then something that I think is pretty much confirmed as well is Pokemon Gen 10. It has been leaked in a huge data mine this year. So I think this is pretty much a shoe-in. We even know the names apparently being Pokemon Wind and Wave, and it's apparently going to take place on like a tropical island type of thing. And I'm kind of looking forward to this. As someone that's not huge on Pokemon, from the leaks and things that I've seen and heard about so far, it seems pretty interesting to me. So yeah, you're going to have a huge, big Switch 2 Pokemon game to end the year, which I think is going to be a big holiday game for a lot of people. But yes, when it comes to what else that holiday game could be outside of Pokemon, something is just telling me Luigi's Mansion 4. I would hope it was 3D Mario, but I think Luigi's Mansion 4 and Splatoon Raiders together in 2026 is a pretty good combo right there with those games alone, not to mention things like Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave, and Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, and probably a couple more surprises. But that's everything I'd say that you can expect for next year. But I want to add another category, and this category is based on just kind of off-the-wall crazy surprises that we could get. I like to also just start by saying these are games that I've just been thinking about. None of these are necessarily likely to happen at all, but I just wanted to bring them up just in case. I think some type of Nintendo-made sports or fit game could happen. We had Ring Fit Adventure come out on Switch 1 and actually sold very, very well. We also had Nintendo Switch Sports, which also sold well, but it wasn't the greatest game ever for sure. So maybe Nintendo's doing something like a Switch Sports Resort or Switch Sports 2 or Switch 2 Sports. It could go in either way here, but hopefully it's actually a game with given effort. We don't have to wait months for actual new sports to be added, in some cases another year, like with basketball. So if they do this, hopefully they do it right, but I think a sports game on Nintendo consoles always just makes the most sense since the Wii. But let's just burn through the rest of these real quick. In April of 2026, it'll be 10 years since Star Fox Zero. Maybe for a 10th year anniversary, we'll just get Zero again, or maybe they'll finally give us a new Star Fox game with effort. One can only hope. I think Battle for Atlas was like the best Star Fox game for a lot of people, and they just had Star Fox characters as an added addition. So just do what you did there, but make a full Star Fox game. Get that same team back over. If we still don't get a 3D Mario still, I think Mario Maker 3 or Mario Maker 3D could be a thing. It'll be 7 years in June, but I just don't know with everything that's going on with like Donkey Kong Bonanza, the next 3D Mario game, Mario Wonder coming out. Is it going to be Mario Maker 3, Mario Maker 3D? Is this going to happen anytime soon? They might want to hold off on that one. Captain Toad is going to be confirmed to be in the Galaxy movie. It kind of got leaked via like a toy for the movie. So I think Captain Toad could have a new game. He hasn't had one since the OG on the Wii U. Then it came to 3DS, and then as a Switch port So please just give us a new Captain Toad game with bigger, more complex puzzle levels, and I think we'd be good to go. Then we could have a new Wario game. It's been a very long time since the last Wario Land game, since Shake It on the Wii. Maybe they even give us a new 3D game since we haven't had one since Wario World on the GameCube. Something with Wario. Wario needs a game other than just the micro games, because he had like 3 WarioWare games on the Switch 1 and then like a WarioWare game on the Wii U. Give him an adventure game, Nintendo, please. We will also probably see more ports and remasters of old games. I'm still holding on for Kid Icarus Uprising. It looks like they were tapping into some of those 3DS games, like with Luigi's Mansion 2, and then Donkey Kong Country Returns getting its kind of 3DS versions sent over. I guess you could look at it that way. But more 3DS games would make me happy. And maybe even bring over some Wii U games like Nintendo Land and Yoshi's Woolly World. Because how is Woolly World the one game that's still left over there? I mean, technically, it's not the only game. You also kind of have Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. But bring Yoshi's Woolly World over, man. I know we're getting a new 2D Yoshi game, but bring Woolly World back. But we'll also probably get more Switch 2 editions and more upgrades with those, bringing the game up to 60 frames. Like Luigi's Mansion 3 could even get one if 4 is not ready this year. And the entire Xenoblade series could definitely get some performance patches. And same with Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door. Please bring that game to 60 frames. And then the last one I could think of, which I'm begging that they don't do, is Smash Ultimate. I don't want more characters. I'm sorry. I don't want that game to return. I just want a new Smash Brothers game that chops the roster down and kind of just rebuilds the game from scratch in a way, kind of rebuilding classic characters, giving us tons of fun modes to play with the characters and stuff like that. Yeah, do not give us a Smash Ultimate Switch 2 edition. I might cry. But that is pretty much what you can expect and look forward to and maybe even think about getting in 2026. I'm not going to sit and lie to you and act like, there's all this stuff on the table. I do think Nintendo's going to have a slower start to next year because most of the games that we know about seem to fill the first couple of months pretty easily for 2026 already. So I don't know how they're going to have that much room to include anything new. I think the best way to look at this is kind of the same thing as last year, where we won't start seeing the big new games until around the summertime and towards the fall and winter months, which is fine. It gives us kind of a gap to relax and unwind after all those games that came out to Switch 2 last year, or technically this year. I don't know. The video's not out yet. 2025. But yeah, I'm just hoping for like 1 or 2 big surprises, and I'm still really holding out for Splatoon Raiders. I can't wait to see what that game's going to be like. But let me know in the comments down below, what are you the most excited for Nintendo's 2026? What are you worried about the most? And do you think we're going to be getting a huge game like the next 3D Mario game? Is it at least going to be shown off in some capacity? Let me know what you think down below, and make sure you leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo in general for the entire year of 2026. You're going to want to make sure that you're subscribed here for all that news and information. But thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you all have a blessed end of your 2025 and a blessed start to your 2026. Thank you guys so much for your love and support this year in 2025. You've been awesome. On to 2026. Happy New Year, guys.